Warning! The opinions on this podcast are of the hosts and guests only, and may contain childish humor. Listen at your own discretion. And now, please adjust your headphone volumes to an unreasonable level and prepare to enjoy the most dynamic and electrifying podcast that cyberspace has encountered.
What's happening, all of our sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Sports Bliss
with Rob
and Chris. What's up, everybody? That's great, because we're doing good too. We have a lot to discuss. It was a very busy weekend in the sports world. But before we get into it, today's episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Do you feel like you are stuck in a dinner rut? With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all those trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less. With over 25 recipes to choose from each week, there is something for everyone to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. Our newest favorite dish is the sweet potato fajitas. Talk about fast and delicious. This meal is perfect for all of my fellow vegetarians. Go to the link in our show notes to get $80 off, including free shipping on HelloFresh, the #1 meal kit. And thank you so much, HelloFresh, for sponsoring today's episode. All I'm going to say is WTF. No, I'm just kidding. I'll get through. Okay, I'm not even completing my sentences correctly because my brain is like spinning 35 miles an hour.
You better watch out. You're going to get a ticket.
1 mile an hour. I'm just kidding. We're going to go over some college football stuff, and then we're going to go over some NFL games that happened this past weekend. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a snack and some water because you know we're all about healthy choices these days. Don't judge me from the weekend. Why is it I feel really motivated and I tend to eat better during the week, and then when the weekend comes, it's football and beer. That's all I want. Is that normal? Do I need to go see somebody for this?
No, that's normal. I think it's totally normal.
And maybe some wings.
Yeah, and if you don't feel like that, you need to go see someone.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, first up, Bama versus the Gators.
Oh, we're getting into it?
Oh, let's get into it.
I gotta say.
Well, for those of you under a rock out there, Alabama won 31-29.
This game, I literally was I was on the verge of a mental breakdown the entire game. With all of that said, I have to congratulate my team. I am so beyond proud of how they executed this game. Even though we only lost by 2 points, and you know what? They deserve all of the respect in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Because we made Alabama sweat. For the first time, I've seen Nick Saban's face doing the WTF.
Well, you know, it's interesting you bring that up because the Gators are the only team, as much as I hate to say this, they're the only team that has lost by not double digits 2 years in a row against Alabama.
Yeah, I know.
They're the only team. I think they played very well. I told you beforehand, I thought this was going to be a much bigger loss for the Gators.
Yeah.
But they played really well. Emory Jones played pretty well.
I'm actually very surprised by his performance. Like, I know I was reading a few articles and stuff on Instagram that at one point the crowd was booing Emory.
They did, which was embarrassing.
Which is kind of messed up. You know, listen, yeah, I would love to see Richardson in. I would love to see what he can do, but obviously we're in this situation. Jones is our guy. Just roll with it. Yeah, he might not make the best decisions at times, but look at all the other quarterbacks that don't make the best decisions also.
Yeah, and you're talking about Bama. Nick Saban is one of the best. Maybe the only better person at disguising defenses is Belichick. And they're from the same tree. You know how you look one way and then the ball snapped and they go into a totally different look. That's the reason Bama wins a lot. You don't outcoach them. So you have to beat them by talent, and that's also hard because they have the best players. So I think the Gators did a great job.
So we know Richardson had like a hamstring injury earlier in the week. If not, it was like the week before.
It was against USF, yeah.
So we all thought that he was going to be in for the game.
Yeah.
I honestly, my opinion, I think he would have been okay to play. I think Dan Mullen had to prove something and say, listen, we don't need Richardson against the best team. We can do it with Emory. I feel like it was definitely a power move that he did. And like even leading up to the game, he kept saying, I don't know why you guys keep asking me this, but Jones is our guy.
Yeah, he was
Jones
getting
is our
annoyed.
guy. He's getting annoyed.
Yeah.
And even 2 weeks ago when they played USF and Richardson went for that like amazing play, he had just been on the field and like ran for or he did like a 70-yard pass or whatever. Yeah. You could see Dan Mullen's face. He was like, son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Why are you taking this away from my guy? So I think there's some power struggle going on there. And I don't know why it has to be like that. Dan Mullen, it's okay to let Richardson play and get some experience. Obviously, he has a lot of talent.
Well, I have a couple of conspiracies here.
Okay.
So number one, Dan Mullen said we have to protect Richardson and his health. So basically, Richardson want to play. Right? That's what I'm reading. Richardson wanted to play.
He wanted to play last week.
Yeah, he wanted to try. And Dan Mullen basically shut him down and said, no, you have this hamstring. And that's probably, in reality, the right call because you don't want to lose him for the whole season over one game, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I get it, and he's young. But I think the other thing is I think this really helped Emory Jones knowing that Richardson was not going to play. Mm-hmm. Because he wasn't kind of looking over his shoulder because the last two games when watching it, I think you can watch during the game, Emory Jones actually got progressively worse during the games because Richardson was having these big plays. And I think he was very afraid that he was going to get pulled out. I think Emory Jones is kind of fragile, to be honest, right now.
It was almost like a mental struggle.
Yeah.
And I think, I agree with you. I think it was good that Dan Mullen set that out and said, no one's coming in unless you get hurt.
Exactly.
This is on you.
Yeah, you're going to be the guy today. That's it.
Like, you got to step up. You got to sink or swim.
Yeah, and I think that helped Emory Jones, to be honest. And hopefully he'll be more confident, and they can play both of them together now. And he won't worry. He'll have that confidence that he knows he played very good against Bama. Now, his numbers were pretty good. He was 17 of 27 for 181 yards, did throw that bad interception, no TDs, but he ran for a touchdown. Malik Davis did very well, the running back. Pierce did very good with the running back. He had 2 TDs. But the interesting thing about this when I went back and looked, the Gators had more total yards than Alabama.
Oh, yeah?
It was 439 to 324.
You know why?
They ran for 258 yards to Bama's 91.
Do you know why?
Tell me.
Because our defense is that good, baby. I'm telling you, our defense showed up to play, and they proved that they can hang.
But also this game, and I don't like to blame it on one player because there's all different things. You had more turnovers than them, still were in the game. You missed an after point that really affected the game.
I will say, if we did not miss that after point, we would have basically probably gone into overtime.
Well, not only did you miss an after point, because then that set up for the 2-point conversion.
Well, we missed that one.
And there was a lot of confusion on that play. And nobody knows the exact story, but supposedly the running back ran the wrong way.
Oh.
And so he couldn't hand the ball off right, and it messed it all up. I don't know who it was really on. Was it on the quarterback or the running back? Only Dan Mullen knows. But apparently the rumor is it was on the running back. So they botched that 2-point conversion, but they also missed a field goal try that we forgot about. So you had a potential for... You could have been up anyway without the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
But, you miss field goals. That's part of college, too. a huge kicking issue the whole weekend with college and NFL. So
don't
we
even
saw
get me
that.
started on
We
that.
saw that. So, but overall, I think the Gators did well. Now let's quickly peek at both of their schedules going forward.
Okay.
Alabama has Southern Miss coming up. They should take care of that. But then they have Ole Miss and Texas A&M back to back. Those are going to be two tough games for them. They're going to have to face an offense that is much better than the Gators, not as good of a defense, but a much better offense. And then they're going to face Texas A&M that has a good defense like the Gators. So it'll be interesting if they get out of those two games without a loss.
You think
Moving
so?
forward. Yeah, I think so. They may drop one of those games.
Okay.
We'll see. Now, the Gators, they have Tennessee coming up. They're
That should be
20-point
a
favorite
win.
as of today.
Win, Heupel, watch out.
Then you have Kentucky and Vanderbilt. So hopefully, Kentucky's been putting up some points, but you should be good, you think, for those 3
Kentucky
games.
is always that team where they seem to kind of hold us, but we always make it through. We always beat them, but it's always a very close game.
Yeah. So I don't know. And then you have LSU and then Georgia. So that's kind of
Georgia's
yours.
no problem. If we played the way
No
we did,
problem.
if we played the way we played against Alabama, we'll
You
be
should win.
undefeated the rest of the
You
season
should.
there on out.
And it may be a matchup again against you and Bama.
And guess what? We wrote down all your plays, and we got you, and we're still in that national championship. Now what?
And the other conspiracy is I'm saying Dan Mullen held Richardson out so they couldn't have any film on him.
Oh, my God. I just got the chills. I literally just got
Did
the
you
chills.
even think about that?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So what
Gosh.
if he comes in against them at
You
the end of
just
the year?
blew my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's, oh, my God. Dan Mullen is sneaky.
Totally
But in a
sneaky.
good way, because he's like, listen, you don't want to know what's in my trunk. Because what I got can destroy you.
That's true. And the last thing I'm going to mention about this game, I want to ask you, because it's been going around on radio stations, on Twitter, everywhere. They're asking, is this Dan Mullen's biggest win, even though he lost?
Absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I can't say that. If you lose the game, I can't say it's his biggest win.
Babe, are you serious? Were you watching the same game? Were you watching that game?
You don't think it was bigger for them to beat Georgia last year?
No, because Georgia sucks. We can beat them any day, any week. Bye. Georgia, not threatened.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word. You're the Gator girl, so I'll take your word on this one. All right, let's move on.
Let's move on to your game.
Rewind to Friday night of UCF versus Louisville. Very high expectations going in.
That game was crazy. I didn't realize that it was
Crazy
going to
game.
be that intense. I thought for sure you guys would have had this game in the bag.
Well, I thought we were going to the way we started out. Of course, we lost 35-42. I thought we were going to have it the way the game started. We looked good. We were moving the ball. We were doing all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, it turned on us. Their quarterback started making plays. He started running. And I knew as soon as they weren't containing that quarterback, it was going to get ugly. Then he would be able to pass. We needed to make him one-dimensional, make him pass the whole time and not run. And they got their running game going, and it was not good for us.
I think one of the biggest things that I took away from that game is Louisville actually made corrections and adjusted to your defense and offense, both sides. And I didn't see a lot from you guys adjusting.
I think they had a very, very good game plan coming in against us, both offensively and defensively, because they played a team very similar to us with Ole Miss.
Okay.
So they were used to the high tempo. If you go back and watch the Ole Miss game, they adjusted in the second half and played much better. They actually, in the second half, they played better than Ole Miss. They just got blown out in the first half.
Right.
And they could never catch up.
They couldn't catch up, yeah.
Well, they used that game plan from that game against us, and it worked. You know, we were making bad penalties, getting into long third downs, and then they would just put 8 guys back and only rush 3 and say, listen, have a 5-yard, 10-yard gain. We're not giving you 15. You know, they wouldn't let us have the big explosive play. To compound that, 6 starters got knocked out of that game for us.
Yeah, what you guys were like going down like flies.
It was really bad. And the 6th one was Dillon Gabriel, so you can't really count that because that was the last play. But when Bowser went down, that really hurt us.
That really destroyed you guys because he was actually making a lot of he was gaining a lot of yardage.
That's when we were doing really good, and then he went out because that changes our team. That opens up the passing game for us, believe it or not. And it's not just losing his rushing ability because there are other guys that can run the ball for UCF, but you're replacing a 6'1", 220 5-pound senior, right?
He's a beast.
That knows how to get tough yardage, but not just that. He knows how to block on pass plays. And he can pick up those linebackers and the cornerbacks blitzing. Now you're replacing him with Johnny Richardson. No disrespect to him because I think he's a great running back, but he's 5'7", 170 pounds. He can't pick up the blitz the same way. Now you have to change the way you're passing the ball, the plays you're calling. Now you're losing your best receiver to injury. Now you're losing your starting cornerback. Now you're losing your best linebacker. Now you're losing a defensive lineman. All these sort of things through the game, that adds up, and that kept it a close game, and we still had a chance to win.
Yeah.
We intercepted the ball with like 30 seconds left. Then they called the right play because we're on their 40, but our kicker, the longest kick he's ever made is 39 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to get the ball inside the 20 to even have a chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they throw the ball. Maybe it was a little off, but it hit the receiver in the chest, and it bounces off of him. They get a pick six and go the other way. It was a crazy last minute of that game.
It was literally back-to-back interceptions. You guys intercepted, then they intercepted.
And our interception, by all means, was a crazy interception.
Yeah.
You know, the one we got on their quarterback. So it's like, to even be in the position, I was thinking, oh, well, we're probably going to go into overtime. That's what I was thinking, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And then we throw the pick six. And I'm like, oh, man.
So now we're at the last play of the game.
Yeah.
We see Dillon down for a glimpse.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I was thinking maybe he just like was cramping, like something was going on.
Or he got hit hard, the wind knocked out of him.
But the camera never went back to him, so I didn't think anything of it. Then we get news that he broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
At the last play of the game.
Yeah. So that means he's out at least probably 8 weeks.
So what does this mean to your team?
So Gus Malzahn had his press conference earlier today, and I was peeking in on it, just checking.
Why peeking? You better be watching that.
Because I wasn't allowed to be in there.
Oh, you're saying you were there?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
snuck in. So I was watching, and he said that as of today, Mikey Keene, the true freshman, is the starting quarterback.
So are you scared? I mean, this sounds, I'm a little concerned for you guys. Like,
well, I don't know. You know, so I think in reality, I think what they're going to do is they're going to use a combination of Mikey Keene and Joey Gatewood, who just transferred in from Kentucky. So Gatewood was with Gus Malzahn at Auburn. Then he lost out to Bo Nix and he transferred to Kentucky. Then he decided he didn't win the job there because someone else transferred in. So he came to UCF, and everybody's like, why does he come to UCF with all these quarterbacks? And he's a different type of guy. He's a running quarterback. He can pass also. So, you know, Gus Malzahn said, I'll give you a chance. I'm not promising you anything. But he knows him and that, so he brought him in. And I thought, well, maybe they'll switch him to another position even. But they've been using him kind of in a wildcat in this. You saw in the game. Mikey, that guy. Because
every time they put him in, there was some confusion on the play clock or on the calls or something was going on because every single time he stood up there, y'all got a penalty.
But I didn't realize also, this was the other problem. I was blaming it on him, and I don't think I should have because I didn't realize our starting center was out.
Okay.
So he played one down, or he couldn't even go. He was trying to play. He couldn't make it. So they had to switch the guard over to the center, which has never played center before in a game.
That doesn't sound very...
Then they had to bring a guy off the bench and play him at guard. So the offensive line, which is usually our strength, the center is the most important on the team.
Yeah.
You know, they call all the coverages and all that. Now you have a new guy playing center who's never started at center. And it just kind of falls apart from there. That's the reason we were getting those penalties, I think. It's because there was miscommunication on the line. And it's because it was thrown together.
Was it? But it was only when he...
No, because they did it with Dillon, too.
Only a few times, but I'm just saying, it's kind of like...
But I only think he played a couple of plays, and it was always bad when he went in.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I think they were...
I mean, I would be a little concerned as a UCF fan.
Well, I think they were trying to rush him in. He's only been with the team a few weeks. So I think they were kind of rushing it.
They don't have anybody else?
No, they have other guys. But Mikey Keene, he was brought in. He was recruited basically to replace Dillon Gabriel when he leaves by Josh Heupel. He just had 2 straight state championships in Arizona. He won both of them his junior and senior year. He has not lost a game in 3 years. So they brought him in. He reminds me a lot of Milton before he got hurt.
I was just going to say, do you think McKenzie is kicking himself for not just staying with the team?
No.
You think he's got it better at FSU?
I don't, but I'll be honest. I think he left because of the coaches too. And he didn't want to compete with Dillon. That was the official thing. But
yeah, but
there's been a lot of rumors.
He never been coached by, he left because of Heupel.
Yeah, I know.
And
but
then he left.
He left way before Gus was here. He didn't know that Heupel was leaving.
I'm just saying, things work in a very mysterious way.
This may be very unpopular because people are like, "Oh, can McKenzie transfer back now?" Which is totally ridiculous.
No, he had his chance.
I would say if Milton were still here, Mikey Keene would beat him out.
For real?
Yeah. The way Milton looks this year. Milton looked terrible with FSU.
Is that a very...
Is
that a very fair statement? Because he's playing with a team that is, come on, the coach should be teaching Pee-wee. No offense.
Yeah, I don't know. But McKenzie's not McKenzie before the injury. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, obviously, he's never going to be dynamic like he was before. Yeah. He nearly got his leg ripped off.
Yeah, so I don't know, but we got to play with who's here. And Gus Malzahn said we're moving forward with Mikey Keene. He said the team has rallied around him, are very excited about him. They like him a lot. And he reminds me a lot of 2017 McKenzie. I know that's high expectations, but in spring ball, he was throwing the ball. I mean, he can throw it, and he can run too. He's athletic.
Well, let's see. You guys have a bye week.
Yeah.
This week coming up. So
which is good.
It'll give him an extra week to practice and get whatever he needs down.
Yeah. So we just got to keep moving forward, get healthy, and move on. Let's quickly talk about FSU losing to Wake Forest.
Oh, my God.
It was pathetic. It was just pathetic.
I did not even watch this game.
It was really bad.
I did not want to waste my time because I knew I did not even want to waste my time. No offense again, but you know what I'm saying? Like, why am I going to waste my time? I already know how it's going to end up, and I was right.
Yeah, it was bad. So that happened, and then Michigan State just clobbered Miami. It was 38-17, but it wasn't even really that close. I mean, it was like bad. And De'Aaron King got hurt again. I don't know if he's going to be back, the quarterback for Miami.
Mm-hmm. So
my question is, with this, who's on the hotter seat? Mike Norvell with FSU. This is the first time they've been 0-3 since 1976.
FSU.
Yes.
What about last year?
No, they weren't. They weren't 0-3. They won one of their first games.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, or Manny Diaz with Miami, because they look like they're regressing. They're getting worse every year.
At least okay, hold on. What was this? Let me make this a fair argument.
Okay.
What was the final score for the FSU game?
35-14.
And then the Miami-Michigan game?
38-17.
Well, Miami put up more points, so yeah, I think definitely Mike Norvell is on the chopping block. No, honestly,
I don't line of thought.
I can't give a fair statement because I think they're both in need of new coaches, both of the teams.
Well, here's the fact of the matter. Mike Norvell is not going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere, even if he loses every one of his games, because the facts are they're still paying Willie Taggart, okay?
They'll be paying him until he retires.
But they're not only paying him his salary still for FSU, they're paying the buyout from USF to Oregon. You remember Willie Taggart? Willie Taggart left USF to go to Oregon. Oregon had to pay his buyout from USF, right?
Uh-huh.
So I just found out that FSU inherited that debt when they got him from Oregon. So they had to pay a buyout to Oregon that included the money from USF.
Oh my gosh.
So they're paying him more than $20 million. Not First him, all, but they're having to pay more than $20 million.
That seals his fate. He's not going anywhere. And you know what? Even if they did, let's just say, even if they did fire Mike Norvell, okay?
Yeah.
Who would take the job?
Yeah.
And you know what? They're not going to turn the program around in 1 year. So,
well, I'll tell you.
I don't know.
I'll tell you who would want the job and who would take it. So let's just do the math real quick, though.
Urban Meyer, because anything's better than the Jags. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
that's USC.
So for Willie Taggart, they owe $20 million, and whatever else they still owe.
That is ridiculous.
Oregon, right?
That's ridiculous.
Okay, so they're paying that. Then you would owe Mike Norvell $19 million.
They would go bankrupt.
Okay.
They would like have nothing.
They were already bankrupt. Then you would have to pay out whoever else you're bringing in and pay out the assistant coaches and all that you're going to fire to replace and all this. But you know who wants the job? And people are already starting to kind of give support in this because he said his hat was in the ring when Mike Norvell was interviewed, and it really never was.
I don't remember.
Primetime, Deion Sanders. You remember the great FSU primetime? Deion Sanders played in the NFL. He's now coaching for Jackson State, I think. Not Jacksonville State, but Jackson State.
What's he going to bring to the table?
Primetime, baby. He's primetime.
Okay, how is that going to...
He's never coached before. This is his first year coaching.
Get out of here.
Yeah, he's
Get outta
coaching.
here.
He's coaching Jacksonville or Jackson State. And this is first year coaching, but there are a lot of people that want him back because he's got the FSU ties. He's a NFL Hall of Famer.
But that does not translate into
But you know
being a
these
good
people,
coach.
they think if you bring them here, he's going to get all these recruits and blah, blah.
Goodbye.
So I don't know.
Welcome back, everyone! Did you have a bad day at the office? Is your boss on your back? Did your favorite team lose again? Well, sit back and relax because it's time for a wicked awesome rant with Josh.
What's going on, you chowderheads? It's been a while, but NFL is here. And when the NFL season starts, you know that means it's always time for a rant. From yours truly, let's talk Pats. Mac Jones looking good. I'm liking him. I did not like his intentional grounding yesterday. I had no idea what the hell he was thinking. But, you know, overall, he looks really good. I wouldn't say Tom Brady, but he's looking good. I'm liking him. No idea what the defense is thinking at times, but hey, let's face it, we played New York yesterday. It doesn't require a whole lot of skill, but they looked really good with those picks. Last week, I don't want to talk about last week. You know, for a brand new quarterback, his first start, you know, I'll cut him some slack. We lost by a point. Big deal. Big deal. Speaking of the GOAT, however, yeah, Tampa Bay looking good. You know what do you think, Rob? You think it's going to be a repeat?
Be sure to tune in next week for another wicked awesome rant with Josh. So what do you think?
Yeah, hell yeah, it's going to be a repeat. Tom Brady's going to take it again. He's going to throw another trophy in the ocean.
He did not throw it in the ocean.
Yeah, but he's got so many he can afford to.
Okay, so
Yes.
now we've transitioned into NFL. Let's just go ahead and talk about the Bucs-Falcon game.
Bucs win 48-25.
They showed who
Yeah.
was boss, but I'm telling you, Atlanta actually played pretty well.
Atlanta played pretty well. I mean, Matt Ryan played pretty well. He threw for 300 yards, was 35 of 46, had 2 TDs, but 3, yes, count them, 1, 2, 3 interceptions.
This poor guy, he's gonna be replaced soon. We all know it. We see it coming. We've seen it coming. We've seen it coming for years, okay?
The thing I was impressed about was not only the offense looked great, the defense looked great. We should have had another defensive touchdown. They called that bogus offsides. The guy was not offside.
No,
he moved,
was
but he was not offside.
offsides. Not offsides.
Not offsides. And then they returned the other interception for the touchdown and called it taunting on him. How do you feel about that one?
I don't think that was taunting at all.
Yeah, running backwards, waving the ball at everybody.
If you think that's taunting, then why didn't Lamar Jackson get a taunting when he front flipped into the end zone, huh? And let me tell you something. When they called that a fumble that Tom Brady did when it was really a forward pass,
I like
Matt
the
Ryan-
wrist action you did there.
you know, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan did the same thing, and they called it
Incomplete.
incomplete.
Yeah.
So what's up with that?
Whatever. I
It was
don't know.
literally the exact identical play.
Well, they didn't review it because that was the offside play, I think. if I remember,
Oh,
that
I
we
don't know.
scored the touchdown on. But whatever. I don't know. Any which way, the Bucs look good. Gronk had 2 TDs. He's in full form. Mike Evans had 2 receiving TDs.
Mike Evans, my boy.
Brady threw for 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. They just looked really good.
This was a
They
practice
looked
for
really
us.
good.
This was a practice.
And Atlanta did not play bad, so I think we made them look bad.
You know what was not a practice?
What?
The Jags. I think I just overheard that Urban Meyer is going to be interviewing with USC next week. I don't know what's more funny, seeing Trevor Lawrence fail because I told y'all he would be failing since Clemson. So y'all should be kissing my feet right now because I was the one that told you. I don't know what's more funnier, that or seeing Urban Meyer literally have self-destructive
He looked like he was having a heart
faces.
attack on the sideline.
He
was like bent over.
Literally, like his world was collapsing right in front of his eyes.
Yeah, that was bad. And I know you said it wasn't a practice, but the Broncos said it was a practice.
I mean, that's true.
Teddy Bridgewater was 26 of 34 for 328 yards and 2 TDs. I heard some stats, something like he's the only quarterback, maybe one other guy did this, but he's one of the only quarterbacks to ever in the history of the NFL throw for over 75% completion rate and 2 TDs in 2 straight games.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And our
feel like,
Jags are proud to be part of that history.
You know, Teddy Bridgewater doesn't get enough respect.
I don't think so. He's a very good quarterback.
I feel like we don't hear enough about him. Like nobody's ever. I think people tend to forget about him a lot. And he's very talented.
Yeah, I think people forget how good he was with the Vikings,
Mm-hmm.
and then he got the knee injury, and then he was out for a year, and kind of they just went with Kirk Cousins after that, and they moved on, and that's how he ended up in New Orleans, and
Right.
move on, and he sat behind Breeze for a few years. So I think people forget how good he was. He was having an MVP type of year when he was with the Vikings before he got hurt. Then he goes to Carolina. They're not so good yet. They lose Christian McCaffrey for the whole year, the best player on the team.
Yeah.
And of course, they're not that good. A new system, a new defense, everything. And then, he ends up with the Broncos now, which I think is a good situation for him. He doesn't have to do too much because they have a good defense. So, but they look good. Trevor Lawrence struggled again, 14 of 33.
He's gonna keep struggling.
118 yards.
You know,
2 interceptions.
okay, maybe I should just give this a rest because I feel like this is what I've been saying this entire time and nobody's believed me. Nobody has believed me. They're like, oh, you're just a hater for Trevor Lawrence. No, I'm a realist and
Yeah.
I see right through him. I see right through that pretty blonde hair. You're not fooling me, buddy.
Well, I think part of the problem is Urban didn't help him out a lot. Meaning...
Urban thinks he should. That's the problem. He has everybody convinced that he is this best quarterback ever. And that he doesn't need practice. He doesn't need direction. He doesn't need anything.
Well, I think he's getting that, but I think just the game call itself, not that they're bad play calls, but just the strategy of the game. They only ran the ball with Robinson 11 times. This was a guy that was getting 100 yards a game last year. All of a sudden they're only giving him 11 carries with a rookie quarterback. I thought the running backs would get a ton of carries this year.
Yeah.
Like, you force the ball even at that because you need to help a young quarterback out like the Patriots do with Mac Jones. They run the ball a lot, so it sets up the pass play, And
But, with Mac Jones, he fits into that system. And I think that they use a lot of his strengths to their advantage.
Yeah.
I don't think Urban Myers knows what Trevor Lawrence's strengths are.
Well, I think he
I think
thinks he
he's
can just go ball out, but he's not
Yeah.
at that point yet. He's
I
not at
think
that point yet.
This is going to be the downfall of Urban Meyer because he still has the coaching strategy as if he's in college.
Yeah.
Like that, those strategies are not going to work.
No, I
because
think so.
The defense that you're playing, they're a lot bigger, they're a lot stronger, they're a lot faster. You can't always just expect Trevor just to throw for like 400 yards.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Urban did come out and make a statement, and basically he's like, we're going to get better.
I saw
this is
a
a
meme.
work in progress.
No, he said,
stick with us.
He said, don't give up on us yet.
Yeah.
And I saw a meme that was hilarious. And I think I put it on our story on Instagram. It was basically, he said, don't give up on us. And then somebody standing behind him, it says, with like a mean face, is like, I've been here since the 90s, since 95 or something.
I thought you were going to go a different way with that, which would have been even funnier.
What?
I thought you were going to say, and it zooms out and he's looking in a mirror.
Oh, like he's
talking to himself. Yeah.
He would do that. Can we say, after this weekend, I took 2 things from all of the games that we saw in NFL.
Tell me.
The kickers can't kick for shit. And there was more injuries than I had ever seen on a Sunday football day.
Oh, 100%. And to big-time players, like in the Bills-Dolphins game. 2 or 3, 4 passes, and then he's done. He gets rocked, and he has this rib contusion or fracture or whatever he has.
So I'm going to go over some of the injuries, and I'm sure that there was more than what I'm going to list, but these were like the players that did not come back into the game.
Hit me with it.
Carson Wentz with an ankle injury. Wait, why is that funny?
Not just one ankle injury. This is the funny part. He sprained both of his ankles.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he sprained both of his ankles.
But didn't he already have an ankle injury preceding this game, right?
He had a foot injury early in spring training or fall practice.
So that has nothing to do with this.
No, they think he sprained both of his ankles on the same play.
Yeah, it says that he was hit awkwardly by Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
While he went to the sidelines and tried to gut it out, Coach Frank Reich told reporters the ankle stiffened up immediately and made it impossible for Wentz to play through it.
Yeah, so...
Can I just say something? This guy is never healthy.
He's a maniac.
Like, what is happening to him? I don't want to diagnose you, pal, but I think you need to go see a doctor immediately because there's something wrong with you. And I'm saying that from somebody that has a medical background.
And that cares.
No, I don't care, but I'm just saying. Okay.
No, so the crazy part about Wentz, is that he doesn't care about his body, like the way he plays. Like, he is a total maniac. Like, in that game, he was diving head first. And, like, when you dive head first as a quarterback, they can, like...
Wait, what?
Yeah, he was diving for first downs and stuff. He doesn't slide. You know how they normally slide?
Yeah, just like slide, yeah.
And I heard someone make the joke, well, he probably didn't slide because both of his ankles were hurt. But anyway,
so then that explains it, why he's such a crazy man.
Always, he'll try to run over guys. He'll try to do this because he's a big guy, right? He's a big guy.
Yeah, but dude, you're not like 16 anymore where your like body is like, you act like you're immortal or something.
Right.
Like that.
But he needs to take a page out of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning's book. Mm-hmm. They are also big guys. They're like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, but you see Tom, he's not trying to...
You know what they do? They see someone running at them, they fall on the ground.
You know what? Which leads me to the next person. He didn't make the list, but because he came back into the game, was Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, he just got a stinger because he tried to tackle the guy.
I thought for sure he dislocated his shoulder. Like, honey, you are the quarterback. Why are you trying... Okay, you just throw an interception... And then you literally try to take out the guy that got the interception and you end up hurt.
I mean, don't you know
I'm sorry, that's a rookie move right there.
No, and that's what these quarterbacks have to understand. Drew Brees said it great last night. He said, listen, one of the most important things about players is not necessarily their ability, it's their availability. If you're always getting hurt, you're no use to your team. So if you're a quarterback, he was talking about Carson Wentz, and he was like, if you are always hurt, you're no good to your team. So you need to get down and avoid injury, you know?
I think, I have a theory. Maybe Carson Wentz chooses to do all these crazy things so he does get injured because he really doesn't want to be the starter. He wants to be the second up quarterback. Because from what I heard, that's the best job on the team because you don't play and you get guaranteed money.
It usually is, but that isn't what Jacoby Brissett said when he was talking. I heard a quote from Jacoby Brissett from the Dolphins, and he's like, they're like, oh, so how does it feel to be the backup quarterback or something? They said something about him being the backup quarterback. How do you prepare being the backup quarterback when the starter gets injured? And he goes, well, I don't view myself as a backup quarterback. He's like, I don't view myself as the backup quarterback.
You're like, thanks, sir, for answering that question.
It's like, dude, you've been the backup quarterback for years. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, let's get back to the list. Andy Dalton with a knee injury.
Yeah, that was a weird injury. He like hyperextended his knee, but then supposedly got like a bone bruise from it.
Yeah, so it says right here that they do not believe that it was an ACL tear, maybe just a short-term injury, but they're not actually saying what happened, what he injured. They don't know.
Yeah, what I heard is he had a bone bruise.
So, with bone bruises, they treat them like
it's just
fractures.
Pain. It's just pain control.
And usually, it's his knee, yeah, so they'll just put him in a cast.
No. It's just, he can play. They'll
splint.
Just, no. They won't put him in anything. It's just pain control. So they'll just shoot him up with like Toradol and stuff like that. Let him play.
Should we expect to see him next week?
Matt Nagy said he is the starting quarterback next week.
Yeah,
and I'm
so
telling you,
that's
Bears fans are not excited about
Well,
this.
that's what I'm saying. He's going to be out for at least 2 to 3 weeks because they treat a bone bruise like a fracture.
I'm telling you.
Okay, fine,
I just
whatever.
heard the coach said he's the starter this coming weekend.
Moving on.
Wishful thinking for Bears fans.
Tua, you are another Carson Wentz, brah. What are you doing to yourself? What are you doing to yourself? You are, this guy has had more injuries.
Yeah, but he's not trying to get injured like Carson Wentz. He doesn't want to get injured.
You think Carson Wentz is legit trying to injure himself?
No, I was just going off of your theory, but I think Carson Wentz is just a little loose in the head. Like he's a little crazy, like that guy that'll just run into the wall or whatever.
He is like Jeff Hardy jumping off of a 30-foot ladder.
No regard for his body.
I'll deal with this later.
Exactly.
Head first into the. Okay, let's get back to Tua.
I think Tua is just Tua slow reading the defense.
That's a good one. So he went out with possible rib. They didn't say at first. They just said he had just injury to his ribs. They thought it was bruising. He went and did an MRI and they found to have rib fractures.
Yeah, like I've heard different things throughout the day. I heard that he had small rib fractures and that he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, so they're saying bruised ribs, but that he's scheduled to undergo an MRI to determine like the severity of the bruise.
Yeah.
So if he did fracture them, it's probably very minor and it's going to be more pain management on that because a few years ago, remember Julian Edelman?
Yeah.
He had, I don't think he fractured his ribs, but he definitely bruised them, and he was playing terrible the rest of the season. He barely could move.
Well, because you're afraid to get hit, and it hurts when you breathe. Even if you don't fracture the rib, you can separate the cartilage from the rib that connects it to like the sternum and all. And so then it's truly like a fracture. It has to grow back together, but you can't see it on x-rays. That's the reason they're doing the MRI. So
crazy.
He may have a cartilage issue with that.
That's
the way
nuts.
it connects.
Wish you luck, bro.
But I heard the report is he's probably out for 6 to 8 weeks. And you Dolphin fans that were booing Tua in preseason and cheering Jacoby Brissett,
you got your wish.
You better watch what you wished for because Jacoby Brissett is not a very good quarterback. You guys are going to look bad these next 6 weeks.
Well, let's see. Next is Tyrod Taylor. He went out with a hamstring injury. So he tweaked the injury of his rushing touchdown, then aggravated it on his final pass attempt to the first half. Basically, It seems like he just retweaked an existing injury.
Yeah, well, he pulled it, and then he pulled it again in the same game, I think. And they were balling out. They were playing really, really well. I don't remember the score at that point, but I think they were basically tied with, they were playing the Browns, I think. They were tied with them at that time, and then they ended up losing the game. But I feel bad for Tyrod Taylor. This is the second year in a row that he had an injury that kind of sidelined him because he was playing well with the Chargers. Mm-hmm. And then that's when they replaced him with Herbert, and he never played again.
Herbert Miniger. If you have children, you know what I'm talking about.
And if you don't, you think we're just crazy.
The hamstrings and the groin, I think, are probably some of the worst injuries to sustain.
Yeah.
Because you could be good one day.
Yeah.
and then feel like crap the next day.
Remember Leonard Fournette had this a couple of years ago with the Jags?
Yeah,
and he ended up
was,
only playing 3 or 4 games the whole year.
He was on like a day-to-day basis, like on how he could play.
The problem is you feel good, and then you go and run, and you pull it again.
Yep.
You know, there's no way. You just got to let it heal, and you never know truly when it's better. It's really hard.
Okay, next we have Darrell Henderson with the rib injury.
Of the Rams. That's bad. They're already down with running backs with the Rams.
So what's going on? Why is everybody fracturing their ribs?
I don't know. I guess they're letting them hit too hard. I have no idea.
Like, that's crazy. I mean,
I think part of it,
like padded up and stuff too?
Yeah,
like, shouldn't the pads kind of help that?
They should, but they're not 100%. And I think guys are wearing less pads to be more mobile.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what
that
I'm saying?
Makes sense.
Because remember, like way back when you were a kid, it was like they looked like the Terminator walking through. They had huge pads and all. Now they look much more streamlined.
Go back to the 90s, if not the early 2000s. Even the shoulder pads were like up to your ears.
Yeah, the 80s was ridiculous. If you look at the padding they had, now it's much smaller. So I think that's part of it.
Next, we have Deontay Johnson with a knee injury from the Steelers.
Yeah, I think I saw something about him.
And they said he injured it on a very like meaningless play. Like it was something very minor.
I think so, yeah. But I think I saw that they did some imaging on him, and it's not an ACL tear or anything like that. It's just a small sprain. Okay. And so they think he'll be back maybe in a week or 2.
Okay.
So they think he'll be back.
That seems to be the less injured player so far. Okay, next we have Jarvis Landry with another knee injury, and he suffered from an MCL.
Yeah, sprained MCL.
Which I've had, and it sucks.
Yeah, he's going to be out for... I mean, it's pain management, but for a wide receiver, that's going to affect his running. So he's going to be out a little bit.
Last 2 is Nico Collins and Danny Amendola, my boy.
Oh, poor Danny.
He suffered a hamstring injury, and then Nico shoulder injury.
Okay. So.
Does it seem like it was very injury heavy?
Yes.
Because and the kickers cannot kick for nothing, because I feel like what is happening? Everybody's getting hurt and nobody can kick.
Kickers couldn't kick, and yet at the same time, Matt Prater hits a 62-yard field goal for Arizona.
What is that?
Yeah. He set the record for Arizona. I think he holds the record for, I haven't looked it up, so someone please text us if I'm wrong, but I think he holds the record for Arizona now for the longest kick, Denver for the longest kick, and the Lions for the longest kick.
Dang.
And his last kick in college was a shanked extra point. But you know, that's a good listen to you out there, all you kids. He did not let that deter him from becoming the greatest kicker in the NFL.
Well, then there you go.
Yeah, you never know. You may be bad and then be good.
So sad.
Okay, one last thing about football, and then let's move on. We did a poll over the weekend.
You did a poll?
You did a poll.
Oh, yeah,
but I'm going to tell you the results. They finally came back.
Listen, I'm going to say I mass tweeted yesterday or Sunday during the NFL games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go check them out.
Basically, you did a poll on who is the best quarterback that went to Alabama. And we included Hurts in this because he's really more Alabama than Oklahoma.
He was with Oklahoma for 1 year.
Yeah, so I count him, just like Jacoby Brissett, I count him as Florida, but he actually finished with North Carolina State.
I will say, I'm surprised that there was no trolls saying, Jalen Hurts didn't go to Alabama.
Yeah, I was really surprised that too. That's because everybody loves Alabama.
No, you
so the
always
question
got
was,
that one person that's got to like say something.
Oh yeah. So the question was, who's the best current quarterback from Alabama in the NFL? Hurts, Mac Jones, or Tua?
Okay.
Who do you think won?
Oh gosh, I'm definitely not Tua. I mean, no shade. That's just I'm giving the tea.
Okay.
I see your performance. I'm not impressed.
Well, sometimes when you have more of a volume of data out there, it can be worse for you. He has the most data out.
I'm going to say, okay. I don't know, because I want to say Mac Jones, but I think Jalen Hurts killed it.
Okay, so what's your answer?
Jalen Hurts.
We had like 200 votes on this, and 52% of the people said Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback out of the three right now.
I'm telling you, I really didn't think he was going to be as successful.
He's been great. I was worried about him in preseason, but he's
me
looked
too.
really great. He's made good decisions, and he's looked good. Number 2,
Mac Jones
at 38%. So kind of close.
Okay, but if you're not a Patriot fan,
No, he
you
still looks
probably
good.
wouldn't give him credit.
No,
I'm
it
just
still
saying.
looks good. Still looks good. And then the third one is Tua at 11%.
And that 11% is like diehard fans.
So I had a discussion with a diehard Miami fan this morning, by the way. And he was saying, you know him.
Yes.
You know him.
Of course.
And so he was going off about Tua. And he's like, I thought they drafted Tua because he was really smart football-wise. He's like, they kept doing the same corner blitz on him all through the game. And he said, that's how he got hurt, because he didn't pick up the blitz. And it's his responsibility to step up and get rid of the ball or change the play or whatever. 3 downs in a row, they ran the same defense.
Are you
He's like,
serious?
how could I see that? He's like, I didn't even play football and I see it. And
so yeah, he
Tua's
should be able
not
to
making
make
adjustments.
He should be able to make the read.
Yeah.
Okay, you get blitz once, sure.
Yeah.
Get blitz 2, we need to make some changes.
But it's the same exact play.
I know.
They just switch sides of the field.
But isn't aren't the defense calling the plays too? Or
Yeah.
he's supposed to?
No, he's supposed to
responsible?
adjust based on what he sees the defense, to read the defense. And so Patrick Surtain, who's on the other team, Patrick Surtain the son of Patrick Surtain, sorry about that. He said, he's on the Broncos now. He said, everybody knows Tua looks at his first read, and if it's not open, he panics.
Stop
This
it.
is his own teammate from Alabama.
Oh.
He came from Alabama, and he was throwing
Wow.
shade at him, and he had a good game.
Do you think that's why they were more like successful, because he played with him? He knew.
No,
Does he play defense?
Yeah, he plays defense. He's a cornerback.
Yeah.
Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, he probably was like, listen, just leave this guy open and we'll blitz him every time.
I think that's the report that's out there now. So everybody knows, just cover up what should be the first read. And then after that, you read his eyes. He's not going to make anything else. He's going to scramble and try to run or
But that
whatever.
doesn't make any sense. Aren't you like trained to like, what have you been doing during practice?
No, because the whole time he was at Alabama, his first read was always open. He has all pro NFL receivers that are all in the NFL now. All these guys.
Yeah. And?
They were always open in college. He didn't have to go past his first
But I'm
read.
saying, what has he been doing in practice now? This is his second year.
I don't know, babe. I'm not there. That's Brian Flores'
We
job.
need to get somebody on
But
that.
the question is, do they draft a quarterback? And I
Yes.
say yes.
Stat. It's trivia time. The Office edition. Are you ready for your question?
I'm ready.
Who does Michael Scott hit with company property on company property in The Office?
That would be one Meredith.
Bonus question, can you name what Pam has to say?
No, I
For
can't.
the
I
review.
can't. No, I can't do that.
All right, if you guys can recite it, give us a text at 407-494-6420.
Or send us a video of you doing it. Would even be even better.
Yeah,
And we'll
don't-
post it on Twitter.
Yes. Okay, let's wrap it up with a would you rather.
Let's do it.
Would you rather participate in the Office Olympics or attend the Dundies?
Oh, I love competitions. I think I gotta go with the Olympics, not the Dundies.
Oh, I'm going to do Dundies all
Are you?
day. I love the Dundies.
I like the Dundies too.
Because I want to see what I would win. What kind of Dundee?
What do you think you would win?
What is her name? With the glasses? Oh, Phyllis.
What?
The busiest beaver. But he misspelled it. you know.
Yeah, at least, at least you wouldn't get Kevin's smelliest.
Don't go in
Dumps.
after. It was like, don't go in after.
Yeah, don't go after Kevin.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll catch you next time. Bye. Love you so much.
Thank you for listening to Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris. Available on Anchor.fm, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and everywhere else fine podcasts are found. Follow us on Instagram and leave voice comments at 407-494-6420. This has been a Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris production.